Hello, everybody. Sitting there, I cut a private message for my Patreon members, and I thought, well, might as well start cutting a little bit of news. I got a little ways to go before we do the news, but I got a lot to do this week. Moyer Recreation Center sinkhole repair. Price climbs to nearly $500,000. The cost of repairing sinkholes in a pond behind Moyer Recreation Center in the Villages has climbed to nearly $500,000. The large sinkholes opened up July 10th and drained a pond behind the recreation center in the village of Pine Ridge. That's District 11, if I remember right. The project-wide advisory committee, which includes Community Development District south of County Road 466, had been given an estimated repair of the sinkholes at the pond would cost $276,954. What? No sense? Bruce Brown of District Property Management reported Monday that it's going to be closer to $450,000. It would include another $100,000 worth of grout to pack in and fill the sinkholes. Oh, by the way, I don't know if this camera will focus here. Here's my new Village's coffee cup mug. Morris Bridge embankment project will be delayed if water doesn't recede. $1.265 million project at the Morris Boulevard Bridge embankment could be on hold for yet another year if the water level does not begin to recede at Lake Sumter. Yeah, they had that problem before. They were going to shore up that bridge over there that, once again, the residents has got to pay for, that I don't understand why, because it's a public bridge. Why are we paying for this? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. They had big, massive pumps out there pumping water to get that water level to go down. I think they gave up on that. And now, especially this year, we've had a massive amount of rain. Well, I should say massive. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? Not massive. We've had more this summer. I've been here 8 summers now, and this has been the rainiest summer since I've been here. Since the recent earthquake and tropical storm Grace hit the southern peninsula of Haiti, Heritage Community Church of Fruitland Park and members of the mission organization Shine have been monitoring the best way to address the immediate needs of those affected by these 2 disasters. For 7 years, Heritage Community has worked alongside Shine in Haiti by sending missionaries, the building of a school and church house, as well as providing orphan care and the development of sustainable resources like fish and tree farming and micro loans. They're always doing stuff like that here in the Villages, and if you're into volunteering for a lot of things, you'll never run out of volunteer stuff here. They're always doing things like that. I just say pick and choose well. Guest IDs will be available for limited hours on Labor Day. Some portions of the Villages will see trash pickup altered due to Labor Day holiday. This is always it, and they always post what villages will be affected on Labor Day pickup because we all have different days. Our days here where I'm at in District 10, I don't know if it's all of District 10, but I think it is Tuesday and Friday. A villager in a Mercedes was arrested on a drunk driving charge after nearly crashing into a police car. Curtis Clay Kolka, 67, who lives on Allure Loop in the village of Buttonwood, was at the wheel of a white 2017 Mercedes at 9:30 p.m. Sunday in the parking lot of the Sumter County Service Center at Pinellas Plaza, where he almost struck the Wildwood police vehicle. During a traffic stop, an officer noted that Kolka had bloodshot eyes, was slurring his words, and was unable to answer simple questions. He had also urinated on himself. Always a good sign. Oh, God. He agreed to participate in field sobriety exercises and remove his flip-flops. Why, dude? Well, you're drunk. You can't think straight. He nearly fell multiple times during the exercise, and the officer had to end them due to concerns of Kolka's safety. He refused to provide breathalyzer tests. It doesn't make any difference at that point. Here's a quick one here. There's 2 things that's been going on around here, it seems like, for a little while now about thieves. You know, the lowlifes that likes to take what you worked hard for, they like to just take it away from you. Says police need help to find suspect who stole electric bicycle parked at Target. In a lot of these stores around here, there's these bicycle, I don't know what you call them, little metal things where you can park your bike in them and, go. And, they put a little lock thing on them and stuff like that. It doesn't mean nothing. Most of the locks that I have seen, are actually made of plastic. A sharp knife, I think we just cut them right off. But anyway, there's so many of them that there's nothing on them. And I don't know exactly how all these electric bikes work. I know the one that I had to have a key to turn it on. And it didn't say that this guy turned it on. It just says he stole the bike. They steal your electric bikes. For some reason, those have become a hot commodity all of a sudden. Everybody has them. I'm not sure what the rules are about them on our golf cart trails and things. That's something you're going to have to check into because I don't know. And then the other thing is catalytic converters. All of a sudden, they're stealing them. What can I tell you? Park your car in the garage. Out-of-towner arrested after intoxicated outburst at hotel in the Villages. Looks like the Comfort Hotel up at Spanish Springs area. An out-of-towner was arrested after intoxicated outburst at a hotel in the Villages. Officers were twice called Friday to the Comfort Suites Hotel on Avienda Central, where 61-year-old Timothy Owen May was causing a disturbance, being verbally belligerent, touching himself, and sexually harassing other guests, according to an arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. He was visibly intoxicated. Guests staying in neighboring rooms had complained that they heard banging on the walls from May's room, and they were unable to sleep. May was given the opportunity to turn in for the night. Of course, you know how drunk he is. But anyway, make a long story short, they got called back, and the second time, he was the winner of a new set of handcuffs. By the way, I hope you guys enjoyed the question and answer from Sue and Deb that you all sent in. If you do, let me know. Put a comment below those videos. It helps the videos out, for one. It helps the channel out, for another, when you do that. Make sure you hit the like button. And make sure, I don't know, what is the thumbs up? Is the thumbs up give you anything? I'm not sure. But make sure you subscribe. Please subscribe. I've been watching that very, very close. And it's disappointing to see that 10 people watch your videos. And now those 10 people that's marked, anywhere from 5 to 6 of those people are full-time watchers. They've watched my channel multiple times and they are not subscribed. Please, I don't understand why not. I mean, why not? It ain't like nobody can steal your identity or anything. It's just that you subscribed. And then on my channel, it shows that I've got another subscriber. That's it. That's all it's about. A villager has complained that new apartment dwellers around the villages are taking over the town squares. Stan Kawiz, Stankewiez, who lives at Creekside Landing, raised his concerns Friday morning before the Community Development District 6 Board of Supervisors. So Creekside Landing. Boy, I've kicked myself in the butt about that place. I had a chance to buy something there when it was brand new for $185,000. At the time, I thought that was a ridiculously high price. Boy, I could sell it today and walk away with a good chunk of change, let me tell you. It's within walking distance of downtown Sumter Landing, but it's just far enough away to where I don't think that you would hear all of the music blasting loud at all. It's just that far away where you're okay. But yet dentist offices and doctor's offices are just around the corner. I should have bought there. I regret not buying there. I wouldn't be there today. No, I'd have to sell it and move somewhere else. But at the time, what an investment that would have been. And that's my bad. But anyway, that's where it's at, within walking distance of Lake Sumter. So this person here probably bought there for just that reason, so he could walk down to the squares. That was important to him, to listen to music and things like that. So his concerns here are actual and true because he's there and he sees this all the time. Ben Stanowitz, who lives at Creekside Landing, raised this concern Friday morning before the Community Development District Board of Supervisors. He recently moved from the village of Lynn Haven to Creekside Landing after snowbirding for several years. During recent visit to the Creekside pool, he and his wife increasingly have heard concerns from their new neighbors about the invasion of the apartment dwellers at nearby Lake Sumter Landing Market Square. You have more and more people taking over the seats at the square, Stites said. He pointed out that operators of the new apartment buildings popping up all around the villages are using this as a selling point for the renters, the easy access to the best features of Florida's friendliest hometown. They are telling them they will have full use of the square. Well, they do. We've always known that. He proposed a remedy that could preserve squares for use by residents. It's not going to happen, dude. I'm just telling you, I understand your concerns, but forget it. It's not happening. The squares is not for residents. We don't even pay anything for them squares to be there. The business people pay that. I don't know what it's called. Entertaining tax. I'll call it that. Those people are paying the money for the squares to be there and the musicians to be there. We used to get something from the tourist trade or the tourist something, whatever it's called, from Sumter County, I think, and they gave us like some kind of touristy money, $100,000 a year or something like that, to help pay for that and promote that. I don't know if we get that still anymore or not. But you as a resident here, you're not paying for any of that. We don't own that property that the squares are on. That's how they can trespass somebody. It's because we don't own that property, just so you know. He proposed a remedy. Okay, you could put up a gate and have people show up Village's ID. Not happening. He added that a neighbor lady suggested that restaurants could provide a discount for customers presenting a Village's ID. They do that at restaurants around the villages. I get discounts all the time when I go to different restaurants. I always ask because they don't advertise it. I always ask them, "Did you give villages discounts?" And surprisingly, there's a lot of them that do. One of them is Panda Express right there next to Home Depot. They give villagers discounts if you show the ID. I think it's 10%. But if you don't ask, you don't get because they don't advertise it. UF Health, the village's hospital, nearly at capacity due to spread of COVID-19. Now, I know there's a lot of people that's going to say, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired of hearing about, okay, fine. But I've got neighbors right now that are getting home remedies because they've got it. And I know another neighbor, I think he's in the hospital now. And last I heard, he was critical. He's got it. Now, did they get their shots before? I don't know that. They might be one of them people saying, I ain't getting shot, don't have to, and I ain't going to do it. Well, they didn't, they got it. But if they got it, it shouldn't be as severe, I wouldn't think. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I just went to my doctor a few days ago and I asked about it. And they told me that after 8 months, I'm coming up to what they call the booster, whatever all that is. And they asked if I wanted to get it. And I said, yeah. Now you may ask, why would you do that? It's all they got. It isn't like I can say, well, I don't do this. I'm going to do something over here. This is it. So why would you not do it? Especially when you're old like me, because if you get it, I could die. And then Sue's left alone to deal with all this. No, if they got a shot that I can take that hopefully would help, I'm doing it. I don't see the problem. Village of Sunset Point mother and son given extra time to remedy the Lanai issue. They were out of compliance. They bought a house, I guess, in Lanai. The screens were ripped and tore and all this and that. And so that's out of compliance. So they have to put all new screens and things in Lanai. Now, you might think, well, that's not that bad. Trust me. Anytime you get anything done down here, that's a massive amount of stuff, especially now because they can't get stuff. It's going to cost you. I asked about having my porch out on the back next to the Lanai, just that little porch covered. Just that. It was $6,000 for just some aluminum and screen. We didn't do it. CDD5 board approves formation of PWAC 2 on a split vote. Let's see what's going on there. That's supposed to save my district, $200,000 a year. We'll spend it on sinkholes. A District Development District 5 Board of Supervisors on a split vote has approved the formation of a second project-wide advisory committee. The board voted 3-2 Friday morning to move forward with an agreement that would pave the way for the formation of PWAC 2 south of State Road 44. All CDDs south of County Road 466 and north of State Road 44, with the notable exception of Community Development District 7, have now approved the agreement. All signatories to the previous agreement must sign off on the new deal or it will not move forward. CDD 5 should benefit financially from the departure of CDD 12 and 13 from PWAC, CDD5 would see a 12% drop in its PWAC allocations, amounting to an annual savings of $208,000. However, CDD 12 and 13 would see a 41% increase. CDD 12 Supervisor Andrew Bellardello, who originally proposed the formation of PWAC2 earlier this year, balked at the huge increase last week and indicated he was not sure he could support spending all PWAC2 after seeing the potential cost to residents. Well, it talks about the inequity of things. It says he argued that 98% of the residents are paying the freight for PWAC, while the commercial districts are paying about 2%, yet are the biggest beneficiaries. He has previously pointed to the lighthouse at Lake Sumter Landing as a symbol of that inequity. I don't know how to really address something like that, but if you come to the villages, and I know a lot of you have, you go down to Lake Sumter, one of the things that you're going to notice is the lighthouse. That's a restaurant there, and right next to it is a symbol. It's a tower with a light on top of it. And they're asking the questions when it comes like dividing up who pays what and how much does each person pay or how much does each business pay for this or that. They say who benefits most from that lighthouse, the residents or the businesses? That's a good question. My mind says, well, I don't know what to say. I see where both of them benefit greatly from it. One, residents are going to, the better an area look, the more people would like to live there. The more people that want to live there increases the price you can probably get out of your house. So you benefit. But businesses, when they have things like that, especially the Lighthouse restaurant, they benefit greatly from that lighthouse. But if you go downtown to, say, City Fire, do they benefit as much in business from that lighthouse as the Lighthouse restaurant? I don't know. And how would you divide that up? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't even want to get involved in that. But it is a thought. And it talks about they had another meeting about the ambulance service here in the villages and all the arguments going on about that. Everybody's just fighting for a buck, ain't they? Every ambulance service is wanting to come in here and get their fair share of the pie. And for years, we've always had our own fire department and ambulance service. We've gotten along fine with it up to this point, but the villages is really expanding a lot. I don't know what's going to be the end of it, but I can only tell you that I am a big supporter of the fire departments, police departments, all of them, not just here, all of them. And so in my book, I've called the ambulance once. I had a neighbor called the ambulance once. It was always the fire department down here that came to our rescue. And I seen nothing but top-notch service. I have no problem with using the service that we have. An outside service, a private company, I don't know anything about them. I've never used an outside service in my whole life, so I don't know anything about it. Pimlico Executive Golf Course will be closed beginning Monday. Convicted golf cart thief arrested after allegedly stealing from a landscaper. Don't leave your keys in the golf cart. Number 1. Summerfield man jailed after allegedly stealing security cameras. They ain't getting no picture of me. A new town center to add lifestyle options. A new town center known as Eastport will bring together a bit of everything that makes up the village's lifestyle. With Eastport, the developer plans to combine a town center concept with a regional recreation complex, golf, entertainment, shopping, and dining all blended together in one location. Future development will join Sawgrass in multiplying the mix of new dining, entertainment, recreation, and golf within the villages. Sawgrass Grove opens later this year in the village of St. Catherine. 539 new cases of COVID-19 confirmed in the past week in Sumter County. Community watch driver aids villager who spotted the Florida panther. They were here first. Descendant thrilled with restoration of oldest house in the villages. Been there for years. If you've ever been down here going to Vista, went around the roundabout right there, you've seen the farmhouse sitting there. Let me see if I find the history of this thing, if it's not a mile long, so you kind of know what that house is and where it come from. My understanding was that was the original farmhouse, the landowner of that whole area there before the Villages bought it. And one of the agreements was the family said when they agreed to sell them the land, you can't tear the house down. You can't tear it up. And so they moved that house there as part of the agreement. And they used the house for probably, I don't know, simple storage maybe. Workmen have been repairing the historic house, replacing damaged siding, and will be replacing the roof as the renovation moves forward. I appreciate you preserving and restoring Uncle Hamp's house. William Brinson of Claremont wrote in a letter to the district office. He said, Hampton Brinson was a fairly wealthy man, and at least by the standards of that day. My grandfather was a poor farmer and raised watermelons and sugarcane and made molasses. I only wish their house could have been preserved as well. It was a dog trot house. Never heard of that, dog trot house. And much more modest than Uncle Hamp's, but nonetheless interesting and more typical of the house of the day. Thanks again for what you're doing. Folks can get a little glimpse of the history of the area, Brinson wrote. The Brinson Perry home, that's what's called the Brinson Perry home, is considered to be a cracker-style house. The wood frame house was common in this area before the invention of air conditioning. It was characteristically built with metal roofs, raised floors, with central hallways, which went from the front to the rear of the home. Wraparound porches and verandas provided shade for windows, walls, and doorways. The dog trot house referred to by William Brinson was also very common in this area in the 19th and 20th century. A dog trot house historically consists of two log cabins connected by the breezeway or dog trot, all under a common roof. Typically, one cabin was used for cooking and dining, while the other was used as a private living space and bedroom. I always knew they were called cracker houses. Remember, I said once before about living in the villages, what was kind of neat is you never know who you're talking to. Never know when you're at a square and you're sitting next to somebody and talking to them. Just down-to-earth people, and you don't know who they are, where they come from. I said, you could be sitting next to a rocket scientist and not even know it. There's a little article here. A villager who helped perfect NASA's moon landing craft will celebrate his 105th birthday. Francis Frank Demis will turn 105 on Tuesday, August 24th. Before retiring to the villages, Demis was a millwright. He took a position with Grumman Aircraft and eventually got into the NASA space program. NASA was having trouble with the Lunar Excursion Model, the LEM, that transported astronauts to the surface of the moon and then carried them back to rendezvous with the command module to fly back to Earth. Demis got involved and helped iron out the problems with the LEM. It worked successfully on all 6 moon landings and was the lifeboat that kept the Apollo 13 astronauts alive when the oxygen tank exploded on their way to the moon. St. Timothy Knights of Columbus hosted a 105th birthday party for Demis this past Wednesday in the parish center of St. Timothy Catholic community in the villages. Demis had been very active in the Knights of Columbus until COVID-19 shut down almost all face-to-face interaction. He was often seen handing out Tootsie Rolls and collecting donations to raise money to help support Special Olympics and the ARC program for people with intellectual disabilities. He also has volunteered for the Knights of Columbus golf tourney. Happy birthday. That'd be a picture of him too. And you'll see, I mean, you could be sitting next to this guy at a square and not even know he had anything to do with the NASA program. It's amazing. Paradise Recreation Center family pool will be closed on Monday. New Yorker sentenced on DUI charge after crashing Lexus in the villages. Hey, listen, people come down, they visit all the time, and you almost get the feeling that it's just a drunk tank down here. People going to the squares, getting drunk, crashing golf carts everywhere, crashing cars everywhere. And I'm telling you, it's not. Oh, I reported this lady before. A New Yorker has been sentenced on a drunk driving charge after crashing a Lexus SUV earlier this year in the village. Lorna Richardson, 57, pleaded no contest last week in a court. So Cliff Villas, the Villages of Southern Oaks. She will lose her driver's license for 6 months and has been placed on probation for 1 year. Not good. 6 months, no driver's license, DUI charge. That means she can't drive a golf cart legally either. Convicted sex offender registers address at Recreation Plantation in Lady Lake. That's a campground that I recommend to people if they want to come down in their camper and spend a few months down here in the wintertime or whatever. I'd say the closest campground, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, as far as having things of their own to do and stuff. I mean, they got swimming pools there. They got tennis courts, pickleball court. They have an activities building there. Where they do stuff in it, and I mean it's a nice campground. And they just opened up a few years ago a brand new area for those. There's no trees in this new area other than palm trees. So if you got solar and you're looking for a place to park to get solar all the time, you want to go to the newer area because the older area is just full of Spanish oak everywhere. Apartments at where the old Hacienda Hills Country Club is, that project has been scrapped. They've decided now they're going to build villas. What kind of villa? I don't know.
Here's a picture of the new plan.
The apartments are going to be gone. They're not going to do that. They're going to put the villas in. And sell them. And I don't know if that's going to include a restaurant in the area. Probably not. I can't imagine why they would. But a pool will probably be part of that. I can see a swimming pool area and maybe pickleball. I don't know. We'll see what you're going to do. And at any given point, remember, he could change his mind again to do something else. I don't know. Villager's adult son arrested after caught driving on suspended license. The adult son of a couple in the Villages was arrested after he was caught driving on a suspended license. Todd Fitzgerald, 36, who lives on Gilson Loop in the Villages of St. Catherine, had been driving a blue Subaru SUV shortly before 8 p.m. Saturday on US 301 near Pine Street when he was pulled over by the Wildwood police officer. A check revealed the Southampton, New York native had a suspended driver's license due to an unpaid traffic fine. He also has 4 previous convictions for driving while license suspended. He was arrested on a charge of driving while license suspended and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. Fitzgerald has been arrested last year at the Walmart at Buffalo Ridge Plaza in the Villages. He has a long history of arrests, including in 2015 when he was living elsewhere in the Villages and violated his probation. A Village of Marsh Bend woman will lose her driver's license for 10 years in a drunk driving arrest which occurred. A Village of Marsh Bend woman will lose her driver's license for 10 years in a drunk driving arrest which occurred when she left a town square and got lost. Diana Marie Pavalik, 63, earlier this month in Sumter County Court pleaded no contest to a felony charge of driving under the influence in addition to the loss of her license. She has been placed on probation for 3 years in order to perform 100 hours community service. The New London, Connecticut native had previous drunk driving arrests in 2009 and in 2011 in Michigan. Community watch drivers spotted her vehicle on the night of November 28th and feared the driver was suffering a medical episode. He pulled to the side of the vehicle and on Fenwick Loop and made contact with Pavlik, who had urinated on herself. Always a good look. She told the community watch driver she was a Village of Marsh Bend resident and asked him to follow her. He could smell the strong odor of alcoholic beverages coming from the vehicle. He called his supervisor, who instructed him to contact the sheriff's office to report a suspected drunk driver. When the deputy arrived on the scene, Pavlik told him she was lost and just wanted to get home. She said she had been at the Village's polo field where she had a couple of drinks, then went to Sumter Landing Square where she had more alcoholic drinks and danced. After she left the square, she got lost. She added she had been at the square with her singles group. The deputy invited her to participate in field sobriety exercises and asked if she had any physical conditions that might impact her performance. She said she had tennis elbow, but tried to show off a dance move, which caused her to fall backwards. At about the time the exercises were to commence, Pavlik started to leave. I asked her where she was going, and she stated she was going to dance. The deputy wrote his report. She refused to cooperate and began to cry. I'm sure I'm impaired and just want to go home. While Pevlik was being transported to the Sumter County Detention Center, she began banging her head against the partition of the patrol car. She provided breath samples that registered 2.3 and 2.30, 2.33 and 2.30. I never did understand that banging the head thing. Why? Who are you hurting you other than yourself? 10 years, my dear. In the villages, you can't drive a golf cart anywhere for 10 years. Get a good lawyer. So that being said, I'm going to get out of here and say have a great day.
And remember, I'll see you on the other side.